Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today, before we start our class, let's do a simple Mangala Charan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chayam Narotamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat Nastaparesha Avtareshu Nityam Bhagavate Bhaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavadi Naistikihi Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnana Jnana Salakaya Chaksuramritanyana Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Japataka Swami Iti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Padayane Gaura Kadadam Dai Nirigram Tarni Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome everyone to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Canto 1, Chapter 2, chapter entitled Divinity and the Divine Service, text number 11. This text we are going to read, it's about the three features of the Absolute Truth. We have heard about the Absolute Truth from the Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 1. Now this is another elaboration, another perspective on the Absolute Truth. So let's read the translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Learned transcendentalists who know the Absolute Truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. This is text number 11. Purport. The Absolute Truth is both subject and object, and there is no qualitative difference there. So here, what it means here is that the Absolute Truth is the object and the subjects are the same. For example, if I were to tell you that the subject is water and the object is the name of water, in this world that we live in, these are two different things. The object water and the name water is two different things. If I'm thirsty right now and if I need to quench my thirst, if I were to chant water, 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 I cannot fulfill my desire to quench my thirst. I have to actually drink the physical water. Then only my thirst will be quenched. So in this material world, the subject and the object are two different things. But in the Absolute Truth, in the Absolute world, in the Vaikuntha planets, the subject and the object are the same. Therefore, the Krishna's name, form, pastime is all the same. Therefore, whenever we chant Krishna's name, we are in contact with Krishna directly. There's no difference between Krishna and Krishna's name. Therefore, chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare is very, very powerful and very potent. It gives results. Let's continue with the purport. Therefore, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan are qualitatively one and the same. The same substance is realized as impersonal Brahman by the students of the Upanishads, as localized Paramatma by the yogis, and as Bhagavan by the devotees, bhaktas. In other words, Bhagavan or the personality of Godhead is the last word of the Absolute Truth. So here what it means here is that even though in this material world Absolute Truth comes in three features, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, but the full expression of all of this manifestation is found in the Bhagavan form. So let's continue with the purport. Paramatma is the partial representation of the personality of Godhead, and impersonal Brahman is the glowing effulgence of the personality of Godhead as the sun rays are to the sun god. Less intelligent students of either of the above schools sometimes argue in favor of their own respective realization, but those who are perfect seers of the Absolute Truth know well that the above three features of the one Absolute Truth are different perspective views seen from different angles of vision. So this is an explanation by Srila Prabhupada. He is saying here that the students of these different schools, Brahman, There is a different school, Paramatma, different school, and those who are bhaktas, who worship the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan. Sometimes they argue because they only know what they know. They do not know what their full absolute truth is all about. So therefore, sometimes they very immaturely they argue. So we as devotees, as Hare Krishna devotees, we should avoid such arguments, because no point arguing with somebody who doesn't want to listen to what you have to say. Let's continue with the purport. As it is explained in the first shloka of the first chapter of the Bhagavatam, the supreme truth is self-sufficient, cognizant, and free from illusion of relativity. In the relative world, which is this world that we live in, the knower is different from the known. But in the absolute truth, both the knower and the known are one and the same thing. In the relative world, the knower is the living spirit or superior energy, whereas the known is inert matter or inferior energy. Therefore, there is a duality of inferior and superior energies. Whereas in the absolute realm, the Vaikuntha planets, the spiritual world, both the knower and the known of the same spiritual energy. There are three kinds of energies of the supreme energetic. There is no difference between the energy and the energetic, but there is a difference of quality of energy. The absolute realm and the living entities are of the same superior energy, but the material world is inferior energy. The living being in contact with the inferior energy is illusion, thinking he belongs in the inferior energy. Therefore, there is a sense of relativity in the material world. In the absolute, there is no such sense of difference between the knower and the known. Therefore, everything there is absolute. So this paragraph here is a bit tricky to understand. Let me just give a little bit of explanation. Here it is explaining that in this material world, the absolute truth appears in inferior and superior energies. These energies are all expansions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they come in three forms actually. They come in the superior form, the superior energy of Krishna. The second one is in the inferior energy of Krishna, and there is the marginal energy of Krishna. So the superior energy of Krishna is actually represented in the Vaikuntha planets, whereby everything is alive. Everything is for the pleasure of Krishna. In this material world, we have two kinds. We have superior and inferior energy. The superior energy in this material world is represented by the Jiva Atmas, the living entities, the spirit soul. These spirit soul are superior energies of the Supreme Lord because it is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that these living entities in this material world are my eternal fragmented part and parcel. That is the superior energy in this material world. Then what is the inferior? Inferior is the material things that we see all around us, consisting of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So this is the inferior. So therefore, in this material world, you will notice that nothing is alive unless there is a presence of the Jivatma there, the spirit soul. So when the spirit soul is not there, that item becomes dead. It becomes inferior energy. It becomes dead matter. Just like a human being, while the soul is still in the body, the human is alive. The human being grows from childhood to boyhood to youth to old age, and then finally passes away. So when it passes away, that very same body, all the while which was very active, suddenly will just stop and dissolve into earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So this is the duality in this material world. There is good and bad in this material world. So all those living entities under the influence of the material energy, they mistakenly think that they are the bodies, the inferior energy. They think they are the inferior energy. Therefore, these living entities, they are said to be in illusion. They are in illusion of their true identity. So this true identity can only be revealed by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And this verse is actually a very scientific verse, and it explains further here that the absolute truth, there is no such sense of difference between the knower and the known. Therefore, everything there is absolute. So our ultimate goal is to come to the realization that actually we living entities, the superior energy of the Supreme Lord, have got actually nothing to do with this inferior energy of the Supreme Lord, which is this material world. So long as we identify ourselves as being inferior, we identify ourselves as being this body, we identify ourselves as being our possessions, our money, our property, so long as we are attached to that, unfortunately, when our lives end and we have only this idea in our mind, we will have to come back into this material world, and we have to go through the process of birth, death, disease and old age again and again and again. So the only way to escape is to associate with the superior energy of the Supreme Lord right now itself. Not to wait until you are about to die and then you do something. No, you must do now itself. So this Krishna consciousness movement is giving everyone a chance, a very, very precious chance to engage our consciousness, engage our mind and intelligence in the superior energy of the Supreme Lord. And the superior energy of the Supreme Lord comes in through His name, His form, His pastimes, His paraphernalia, and above all His devotees. So therefore, the only way we can escape from this place of repeated birth and death is by engaging ourselves 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days in a year, until the end of our lives, with Krishna only. So this verse actually, this is the purport here. Hare Krishna.